Namaste and Jai Swaminarayan. Welcome to the Akshar-Purushottam Darshan and Introduction web series. This series aims to look at the Akshar-Purushottam Darshan, or the philosophy that was established by Bhagwan Swaminarayan in the early 19th century. Now, as a disclaimer, I am not a scholar, I'm not an academic. However, I am a seeker within this philosophy, the Akshar-Purushottam Darshan. And so this is my attempt in explaining some of the different concepts of this philosophy to a wide range of audiences. There are many articles and books and videos and audio in Hindi, in Gujarati, and even in English if you want to learn more about this philosophy, the Akshar-Purushottam Darshan. However, as a personal project, I wanted to try and explain this to a wide range of audiences, whether you have no idea what I'm talking about right now, or you are an aspirant, have taken refuge in the Akshar-Purushottam Darshan. And so through this series, I'll be making various videos explaining different concepts, trying to the best of my ability to explain it. In advance, if I do make any mistakes, I apologize for those mistakes, and I will try to correct them going forward. Some of the topics that will be covered in this series is: who is Bhagwan Swaminarayan? What are the basics of the Akshar-Purushottam Darshan? The Darshanic tradition within Hinduism. A deep dive into the details of the Akshar-Purushottam Darshan, scriptures of the Akshar-Purushottam Darshan, verses that complement the darshan, and many more. And so let's get started with this first video. Bhagwan Swaminarayan. Who is Bhagwan Swaminarayan? What was his life like? Bhagwan Swaminarayan was born in 1781 and left the earth in 1830. He established this philosophy that we are going to talk about in this series, called the Akshar-Purushottam Darshan, in the early 19th century. Starting at the beginning of his life, when he was born on April 3rd, 1781, in a village near Ayodhya called Chappaya, in the northern state of India of Uttar Pradesh. He was born into a very pious family. His father's name was Dharmadev, and his mother's name was Bhakti Mata. His older brother was named Ram Pratap, and his younger brother was named Icharam. Throughout his life, he learned many scriptures from his father, who's a learned scholar. And he displayed very early on that he was no ordinary child. His name was Ghansham when he was a child, and he displayed many incidents displaying his miracles and showing that he had a higher purpose on this earth, whether it be bringing the fish back to life to teach the fishermen the importance of nonviolence, or ahimsa, whether it was climbing a tree, looking into the west, saying that souls that are awaiting for liberation are waiting for me, whether it is the incidents with the confectionery, saying that he ate all the sweets, and when he brought his aunt back into the shop, all the sweets were filled up back in the store. Like this, there are many incidents which you can read about, displaying his miracles and his higher purpose on this earth of liberating souls and elevating them to the highest spiritual state. However, after his parents passed away, Ghansham left his home at the age of 11 for a Kalyan Yatra. A Kalyan Yatra is traveling around India, where he was liberating numerous souls. He was known as Nilkant Varni, and over the next 7 years, 1 month, and 11 days, he went on an 8,000-mile pilgrimage all around India, starting from Ayodhya, going to northern India, into the mountainous Himalayas, going into Nepal, Tibet, China, working his way down into Bengal in eastern India, going around the southern tip of India, making his way back north on the western coast, and finally ending his travels in the western state of Gujarat in India at the age of 20. During this time, he mastered Ashtanga Yoga, or the full eightfold path, the eight-step path of yoga. He blessed numerous aspirants and numerous souls, and many people were captivated by his devotion, austerities, penance, compassion, care, and many more. He was offered kingdoms, he was offered ashrams, he was offered many things, yet he chose not to stay in any single location until someone could satisfactorily answer one question that he had. What is the difference between the 5 metaphysical entities of Jeev, Ishwar, Maya, Brahm, Parabrahm? And in arriving in Gujarat, a disciple of Ramanand Swami by the name of Muktanand Swami was able to answer Nilkant's questions, and hence Nilkant Varni stayed in Gujarat. Accepting Ramanand Swami as his guru, he was known as Sahajanand Swami. Upon the passing of Raman Swami, his guru, he gave the mantra Swaminarayan to all the devotees of that fellowship, and hence his name became Bhagwan Swaminarayan. He built over 6 majestic mandirs in the traditional Hindu style. He ordained over 3,000 swamis or youths into the monastic order, specifically 500 overnight. 500 of those swamis are known to be of the highest caliber, known as Paramhansas. He ushered many community and social reforms. He abolished the practices of dudpiti, which is the drowning of a daughter, and sati, which is burning the widow with the husband in the funeral pyre. He ushered many social changes, including championing women's rights, children's activities, making sure everyone felt equal, regardless of status, caste, or creed, looking at their inner divinity and teaching all that everyone should be equal through many of these social and community reforms. He inspired the creation of scriptures. He himself wrote a scripture called the Shiksha-Patri, which is a code of conduct. He inspired the writing of the Vachanamrut, which is his spiritual discourses written in note form by his swamis, his disciples. He inspired the creation of many spiritual hymns known as bhajans, and championed arts, architecture, singing, and many more. However, he left the earth on June 1st, 1830 in the village of Kharda in Gujarat. And so this is a brief timeline, as you can see, of Bhagwan Swaminarayan's life, of what we had discussed today, starting from his birth to leaving his home, mastering Ashtanga Yoga, settling in Gujarat, initiating into the Uddhav Sampradaya by Guru Ramanand Swami, giving the Swaminarayan Mahamantra and revealing the fellowship to be known as the Swaminarayan Sampradaya, initiated 500 sadhus or swamis in one night, conducted many large rituals such as yagnas in the village of Dhaban, initiating his foremost disciple and his spiritual successor, Gunatitanand Swami, into the sadhu fold, which we'll talk about a little bit later, wrote the Shiksha-Patri, the moral codes, and finally returning back to his abode on June 1st, 1830. And so Bhagwan Swaminarayan, as by the name Bhagwan, he is known to be God in the Akshar-Purushottam Darshan. He is God in the Akshar-Purushottam Darshan. And he left a legacy while on this earth for 49 years. A legacy of mandirs, or Hindu temples, which serves as a foundation, as a physical structure where people can go. Scriptures, where the knowledge is, such as the Vachanamrita, the Shikshapatri, where his teachings are written. His teachings of the Akshar-Purushottam Darshan are written. His disciples, numerous sadhus and devotees of the highest caliber. And finally, the Akshar Brahma Guru, a continuing lineage of spiritual successors, which we will talk about a little bit later. And so, this was Bhagwan Swaminarayan's life. In our next video, we're going to look at the basics of the Akshar-Purushottam Darshan and the basic concepts, principles, and understandings of those who follow this philosophy propagated and established by Bhagwan Swaminarayan. Jai Swaminarayan.